All right, everyone. Part of being the most interesting guy alive is I have to expand my shop a little bit. So what I've done is, in order to make parts and to kind of keep up with those little things I want to modify and manufacture and whatever else, I like making junk. I'm an official junk manufacturer, maker slash improviser, hacker. Anyways, I bought a milling machine. I actually traded goods for it. So this is a win for me. So it's a King PDC 30, I guess. It's a very, very accurate drill press, as well as a milling machine. It's a nicer older gentleman in White Rock, which is about, I don't know, 20 minutes from where I live. Decided he was going to get out of the metal fab business, and his lost my game. Anyways, I'm going to put this thing in. I've taken a little section of my garage over here, and I've cleared it out for the milling machine. He had a lathe as well. I still may go back there and have a look at the lathe and see if that's something I want to get into. But I'm quickly running out of space in here too, so I'm going to have to make some decisions. Anyways, let's get this thing picked up and moved over here to the corner, and we'll get making some milling machine stuff. All right, everyone. So there it is, all running. So I got this running here, and I've got another little piece of conduit right here that I'm going to stick in here and go that way down this long wall, and I'm going to repower my hoist with that, because right now my hoist is running off of my future plasma cutter outlet, which is a 40 amp plug. I've just changed the end on it, so now it's got a 220 outlet going to it, but it's way too much power. And it's a waste of a good high voltage plug. So this is how it looks down here, all nicely laid out. And here's the milling machine all in place. And as you see, it works. Yay me. So one thing I've noticed, I've been doing a lot of online sort of what would you call it? Research, I guess, on this machine. Now, what I didn't know when I bought this, and I do know now, is that these are a great hobbyist machine. It's got tons of power. It's 2 horsepower. It takes all of the R8, which is the more consistent with the higher quality machinery. It takes their tapered shanks that go up inside here, where this is here. This would be an example of one right here. So yeah, we've got I have to buy a bunch, actually. I need all the collets and things so I can change up and get some end mills, and I can properly put the proper hardware machine, tooling, I guess you call it, inside the machine. So that's all coming. I just got to order that. My shops where I usually go to and pick everything up are closed on Sundays, which is unfortunate, but hey, I guess they need a day of rest too. Other than that, it runs great. So what I found with these King machines, I'm going to do a bit of a full thing on it. Sorry, just fixing this thing up here. Because it is an interesting machine. I don't know too many people have these hobbyist milling machines, but what this one does do very well is it also operates as a drill press. It's called a drill mill, actually. So it's basically a really, really accurate drill press that has a bench on it, or a table that moves on the X and Y axes. Which is helpful. So I can basically take a piece of material, stick it in one of these vices here, and I can mill out centers. I can cut holes in it. I can do whatever I want with it, basically, or I can surface it, which is probably what I'm going to be doing a lot of. I want to get into making some custom pieces for things, and those custom pieces, I want to have them so they look like they've been machined, because that's kind of a cool look. And with this, I can do that. And you know what? Once I outgrow this machine, I may get another one, or I may. You can CNC this device here. You get all kinds of different electric power winders and things for down here on the table, and it basically replaces this handle with a little machine, and they have them for there and here and then up here as well, and it becomes a full CNC, which is pretty handy. So I can hook up to a computer, I can enter some CAD files into it, and zip bang, it cuts them out, which is kind of cool. I might get there, I might not, I don't know. This is kind of, I've always wanted one, so now I've got one. So we'll see how it goes. A couple of things with this machine that are different from your standard Bridgeport style, which are those really big ones you see like in high schools and in proper machine shops and that. This one uses belts, a series of belts to adjust your RPMs and your speed. It goes from, I think 150 RPM to 2,500. So that's suitable for most materials. I mean, for me, it's gonna be basically aluminum, a little bit of light steel, and I'll just be basically adding some fancy cuts and things, and maybe hollowing out some centers and whatever else. So nothing really too crazy, but it has enough speed, enough options there, you can do that. And the belts are a nice gentle drive for it. A few of the problems that I've been looking online with this style of machine is right here. Because this is round, when you go to lift and lower the actual head of the machine, what you'll find, or I'll find eventually, is that once you've set up your machine and you've got it all the way you want it, and you've got everything lined up and all your numbers and everything, and it's perfectly set up for what that piece of work you're going to be machining. Once you adjust the height of this thing, mid-process, you throw all those adjustments off, because this head actually moves side to side. And once you loosen up those set screws on the side over here, which are right here, what happens then is now it has some slop in the actual head of this thing. So it almost never goes right back to where it was before. So it's called another setup, unfortunately, which is very time consuming. And it does produce slower work, but it's one of the challenges with this kind of machine. Not a problem. For the, like I said, the amount of work I do with it is probably going to be fairly basic. Unless I want to get something bigger, then I'll go down that road when I get there. But for now, this thing's going to work just fine. I did a bunch of sort of looking to see the kind of where the ideal setting is for the head relative to the table, and it's pretty close to where it is right now. What I don't want to do is get in the habit of having the this actual spindle here going too far down. Because once that happens, then you get run out, and that means that the blades are doing this on your cutting areas, and it's going to lead to some really irregular and undesirable, we call them machining surfaces or machined surfaces. So I want to get away from that, sort of find a happy medium for it. And the other thing I have to do too is because this machine, and there's about 10 different machines in the market that are like it, very similar to it. Jet makes one, Grizzly makes one, basically all the machine companies that make lathes and such, they use this style machine. And I think they all come out of the same factory actually, somewhere in China or Taiwan or something. They all have a couple of little problem areas. One is down here. You want to make sure that this play that's in the table is worked out. It's not much. It's in the thousandths, a couple of thou kind of thing. But it is important when you're doing a proper surface. You want to have it spot on. The other thing I have to do is I have to go down here, and what has to happen sometimes, from what I've read, the machine itself kind of sits off like this or off like that or like this or like that. So it may not be very much. It may only be a couple of thou, but it's enough to throw off the surface of what you're doing. And one easy way to read that is you get a dial gauge, you stick it in a chuck, and you just turn it by hand. And it goes on the surface of the table. And what it'll do is as it goes around the surface of the table, kind of like this shape right here, watch me, it'll pick up subtle irregularities in that surface. So once you have your dial gauge, and I'll show you when I go and do this, I have to pick up a dial gauge and do it. But what it means is the table's not perfectly symmetrical with the cutting surface or the cutting head. So I have to adjust that. That's just going to be one of these things I got to get to. It's not happening today, obviously. But as I go through this thing, it's going to be a lot of learning for me anyways. But I'm really excited to get on it and start making some stuff. I want to build all kinds of things, but first and foremost, I just want to get used to it, get some cutting, some bits, and just get working on stuff and see how it goes, which should be fairly exciting. So anyways, that's me doing my 220 wiring for this machine here, and I'll do another one for the hoist in the near future. You guys will notice I kind of turned the shop around too. I've got this workbench here is going to, or this tool chest here is going back against the wall. I kind of switched the room around. I got this big table over here. It's about bar height. It's a laminated wood top with 2x3s that I machined down. And I put my first run of an epoxy on it, one of those poured epoxy tops. Not thrilled with the way it turned out, but it is a very, very good, heavy, very substantial table. Anyways, I'm going to get rid of it. So if anyone out there wants it, it's about, I'm going to say 10 feet long by 28 inches wide, I think. And as you can see, it's about 2 3/4 inches thick. It's very heavy, but it's a great surface. And if you spent a bit of time with it and did another epoxy pour on it, you'd have yourself a killer table. And it's got 2 by 2 1/4 inch wall legs, so it's more than durable for anywhere you want to use it for. I just found I built it thinking I'd need it, and I'm probably into it for about $500 to $600 with the metal and everything, so my loss. But anyways, it's going to go. I'm going to free up a bit more room on the floor in here, and yeah. Anyways, that's a lot of talking, but I'm back on the Beetle tomorrow. I can't do anything on it today just because it's Sunday here, and where we are, it's illegal, not really illegal. It's just frowned upon to work on Sundays. So that's that. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. And that was the great milling machine installation. And I hope I have another one when I do a lathe possibly, which will go right in this neat little area beside the milling machine. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.